name is Kaleb Hall. Pronouns are he, him, and his. And I currently work with Toyota on the special projects. And for the business partner group, I currently serve on the North American Advisory Council for Spectrum. And we cater to the LGBTQ community and allies.
My name is Carrie Hall, and I am the Experience Center lead for Toyota, Mississippi. Kaleb and I have been married for about 6 years now, legally, and have been together for 21 and a half years now. So pride to me is being able to be proud of me and who I am and who I've become over the years, and being able to be proud of the fact that I'm part of the LGBTQ community. As far as resilience, I think that for me, we've had to be very resilient in pushing forward, continue the movement, always being able to be leading the path forward with being vocal for who we are as a couple, who we are is a part of this community here in the South.
So I think about where I was before, and as a young lesbian coming out, always living all my life in the southern states, it was very difficult for me in the time that I came out, and through the years, you know, it became more accepted and you know, more recognized, if you will. And then I once I came to terms with who I was and actually got the courage to come out as a transgender man, resilience for me is more about not blending in and being visible to those who maybe don't have the courage to come out and see that they're not alone and they're not ostracized as something totally completely different. This is what trans looks like, and I want to continue to be visible for those who may be in that dark place that can't come out and don't have the courage or the support to come out on their own.
So here in Tupelo, we have a leader in our allyship. Her name is Melanie Dees, and she's been fantastic ally to the LGBTQ community. She brought it to us and said, you know, how come we don't have a pride celebration in Tupelo? And we said, we're happy to help do that. We took it to the mayor, who had zero pushback for us. They immediately gave us all of the permits that we needed. The very first year that we kicked it off, we did it in just about a 2-month time period, put it all together, and we had hundreds of people turn out. So we knew that we had finally found our voices and found a footing in the Tupelo area. So for me, as a couple, it was obvious for the first 15 years of our relationship that we were a lesbian couple. We would walk into a restaurant and people automatically knew. And here in the South, that's not always welcomed, but we found it to be easier and easier over the years, and we just continued to lead our lives. When Kaleb finally decided that he was ready to come out to the public as transgender, I think that the hardest thing for us as a couple was now looking like a normal heterosexual couple, and we fit into what society deemed was a normal relationship. My resilience with that was making sure that we were much more vocal after that to say, this is what trans looks like, this is who we are. We're not going to just quietly sit in a corner and be in that box that society puts us in anymore. We are a trans couple with a bisexual wife. That's who we are. That's who we've always been. And I think that fitting into society in itself has been a struggle for us because it's made us much more vocal in being part of the LGBTQ community.
You know, I could go on and on about the different avenues that telling our story has taken me down. There's been so many people reach out to me from other Toyota plants across across the United States. I'd like to talk about one story in particular that really, man, it really just it touched me, um, personally when we attended Starkville Pride, and it was the first Starkville Pride. And when we walked up, we, there were people everywhere, and out of nowhere, this kid comes running up to me, yelling my name like I was some rock star or something, and just talking about how I've really been an influence to him, and his coming out and transitioning, and how I really impacted his life by telling my story and letting him know that he wasn't alone and that there were people like him out there.
So I think for me, telling my story has been a difficult one because I always found myself as a bisexual woman who loved this female, and we were in a committed relationship for many, many years. And when he decided to come out as transgender, although I had known for quite a few years, and we had been in therapy for quite a while about it, once he decided to publicly come out, it was almost like, what does that do for my identity? Who am I as a person then? Where do I fit in the LGBTQ community? Because now we are seen as a heterosexual couple. I think that the biggest thing for me is a lot of people have reached out to me also as a wife. How do you deal with it? What are the circumstances? What kind of advice can you give me? My spouse doesn't know where they fit. I've had people here at Toyota have so many questions on where do I go to get resources? How does the process work? I know that your husband came out as transgender. How do I start that process? Working in the field that I do, I'm a little bit more accessible than Kaleb is sometimes at work, so they can reach out to me as well as Kaleb. Kaleb has taken it on as a personal mission to start writing the transgender handbook on how Toyota as a company will deal with a team member when they come out as transgender in the workplace.
So with the transgender toolkit, I'm working with a team of coworkers, and we actually want to develop a roadmap, if you will, for team members that are going through transition. But we also want to create that roadmap for management and our lead in the plants as well, or the sites. Just to help them when somebody does come to them and they're hey, I'm transitioning, or I'm transgender, and I need to know what to do next. It kind of gives them that guide as well on how to guide that team member and help them through the process and give them the correct resources that they need. So it's not just for transitioning team members or employees, it's also for the management team and leads in our workforce as well, to help them through the process.
I think that if you want to make a change in your company, the first steps for you to do is just be vocal about it. Find the resources, start with human resources. Are these policies in place? If not, what can I do to change it? Find that one person that can be a mentor to you in a leadership role. They are the ones that will push you and help you get those doors opened. And if you don't have those resources within your company, reach out to another company that already does have those resources. I assure you they're willing to help you work and to give those to your company and lead the way. If the doors don't open, kick them open. I promise you, you won't regret it.
To never give up on what you feel like is important, and to be an upstander, to make sure that everybody is included and everybody is equal. Um, our plant president told us one time, Sean Suggs said one time, "Who's telling you no?" So if you see something and it doesn't fit, or it doesn't seem right, it you know it's out of the realms of inclusiveness and equality. Ask those questions and bring up those issues, and be resilient in what you're asking for and what you're expecting, and be clear on what you're expecting, and don't settle for anything less. And if somebody says no, then you keep going and you keep going and you keep asking. When we first met, we met online, and we talked for, oh my God, every day, like for hours. And I finally, I'm like, well, I want to meet you. And then I had to convince her that I wasn't a serial killer. I, I wasn't stalking her, which I really was, but just trying to convince her that I was a really good person, and convincing her to be brave enough to come and meet me. So um, I told her I wasn't stalking her, but I really was. I mean, I saw her, and it was love at first sight. And that emotion, I want to say it hadn't changed, but it kind of has, because it's gotten stronger and stronger through the years. But just me trying my best to convince her to, to give me a chance is pretty funny to me.
I guess for me, once he convinced me for us to meet, I lived in Atlanta. He lived in South Carolina. It was a long drive. I worked retail management at the time, had been up all night, hadn't had much sleep, stopped at the gas station, bought a lottery ticket, and said, if I win, I'm going. If I lose, I'm not. I won $5 that day, and won the love of my life. I still have that lottery ticket and still have the love of my life. So I guess I won all around that day. I guess that I'm the most proud of where we have come over the past 21 plus years. Um, you know, Toyota has given us a platform to not only use our voices for change, but also to change our lives. Um, we have come so far as a couple. Um, we're able to do things together. We have a great group of friends. We have great allyship in this area. I think that I'm incredibly proud of where we are, who we've become, the things that we are able to accomplish, just because we have opened so many doors using Toyota as a platform for us, out in equal partnerships, human rights campaign partnerships. We've been able to really have a voice in our community, and I'm proud to be a part of the Southern community.
I think just looking back on where we were and where we are today, going through life, and I mean, just a relationship alone is a challenge, and it's almost like a business you have to work on every single day, and you have to improve, and you have to kaizen, and you have to think of different ways to make that work. But in the midst of all of that, I kind of threw a monkey wrench in the whole thing when I changed direction, just to go towards who I was, truly. Um, but just thinking, in the beginning of my transition, one of the most difficult decisions that I made was the possibility that I could lose her. And was I willing to do that? And with that, it took a lot longer than it should have for me to have the courage to come out. But just knowing that I could finally take that step, and become my true authentic self and know that the love of my life would stand by my side. Many times when people go through transitions, they go through a lot of changes and lose that part of their life, that their comfort zone, or their partner, that they thought would be there for the rest of their lives. So for us to be where we were and where we are now, and all of the things that we've been through, and um, still standing strong, that's my proudest moment, just sitting beside this lady right here.